I fail to see the humor in that.
Salam guys, Fidras Wolf here. So, how to climb into Low ELO, Beginner's Guide to League of Legends. This video is for you if you're just starting out in League. It's also for you if you're in your first year of League and feel like you don't have a firm grasp of the game yet. And again, it's also for you if you're constantly being blamed because you don't know your way around the game. I'm going to be giving you 7 tips on how to climb from a beginner into Low ELO and be good at the game. So guys, tip number 7 is by far the most important tip, so make sure to watch that video till the end. And also, if you find this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. Tip number 1. Adjust your settings. Now, the way the default settings are set, I think are for the benefit of beginners. That said, some of the default settings will put you at a massive disadvantage, so you have to adjust these settings ASAP. So I would say there are 2 crucial settings you have to change and get used to ASAP. The first one is to unlock your camera. Guys, there is no way around this. Please do not play League with a locked camera. You will be at a huge disadvantage. League is a game of awareness, and you'll have very limited awareness if you play this way. If you're struggling to play with an unlocked camera, then I suggest you play a few games in the co-op versus AI mode. The stakes are very low and no one cares if you're playing bad. So put in a few games in this mode until you're comfortable with the unlocked camera. The second crucial setting is to enable Quick Cast All and disable the Replace Quick Cast with Indicator option. If you don't do this, you'll be much slower casting your spells or abilities. If you're worried about not knowing the range of your abilities, you can hover your mouse button to the HUD at the bottom of your screen to each ability and see its range. Again, if you're struggling with this setting, go to the co-op versus AI mode and put in a few games. Next, I will go over the more subjective settings. I recommend them, but I wouldn't say they are essential. The first one is to reduce the scale of your HUD, chat, and minimap to the lowest scale possible. I also like to disable the summoner's name display. The reason is simple. It's because these displays reduce visibility. The controversial one here is the minimap. Some even suggest instead to increase the scale because the minimap is very important. Personally, I can see pretty well on the low scale minimap. Next, you can change some further settings. I like to enable the show spell costs option. This will display the mana cost of each spell in the HUD. I like to change the ability cooldown display to minutes plus seconds. I like to enable the experience option in the combat text category. What this does is show you the amount of experience you get when, say, a minion dies. This is important to know if you are within the range of gaining experience when a minion dies. Another setting you can change is to make kiting somewhat simpler. What is kiting? We will come to that later. So assign a key to the player attack move click option. I like to assign the space bar. If you do the same, assign a key to the center camera on champion option because the spacebar was assigned to that option initially. Tip number 2. Learn League jargon and acronyms. So, League of Legends is a pretty big world and it sort of has its own language. And if you're new to this world, some words or phrases may be confusing to you. So you may run into such words, say in chat during gameplay, or while reading an item description, or while watching streamers or pro play. So it's a good idea to familiarize yourself with these jargons and acronyms as soon as possible. The first word is proc. Simply put, proc means activate or to activate. This is a very important concept in League and we're going to talk a lot about it later. The second word is meta. The best synonym I can think of for it is current trend. So if I say this champion is in meta, then it means that the champion is good to play. Another term is ganking. It means to ambush or to attack unexpectedly. The next word is main, and that means to play a lot of or to specialize in. Another word is ELO. It's actually a name of a person. In League, it stands for ability level. Smurf. A Smurf is someone with much better skills than is supposed to be. So this happens when, say, someone in High Elo creates a new account and is of course placed in beginner Elo and is playing against beginners. Flame. To be flamed is to be verbally abused through chat because someone thinks you did something wrong. Last hit. To last hit means to deal the killing blow to a minion. Keep in mind that if you don't last hit a minion, you won't get gold from it. In relation to this, CS means creep score and stands for how many minions you have successfully last hit. Map awareness. Map awareness means paying attention to what is going on in the entire game instead of just focusing on your lane. Kiting. Simply put, kiting means attacking while running away. And this is done to avoid melee attacks if you have ranged attacks or abilities. Kiting enables you to win a duel you might not if you were just standing still and attacking. Let's take an example. Tristana versus Blue Buff. In the first case, Tristana is just standing still and attacking Blue Buff, and as you can see, it doesn't go well for her and she dies. In the second case, Tristana is kiting Blue Buff instead of standing still and attacking. She is attacking while moving away from Blue Buff. And because of that, Blue Buff is unable to land his attacks on her. And this time, she wins the duel and even survives with a lot of HP. These are the most important jargons used in League. I have prepared a list of further jargons, acronyms, and abbreviations. Tip number 3. What lane should you main? In League, you should specialize in or main just one lane, but you should play the other lanes as much as possible as well. Now, choosing a lane to main is a matter of preference. You may have various reasons for choosing to main a specific lane. For example, I main jungle, and my reason is that when I was starting the League, I was watching this pro play video between SKT and SSG, and I was moved by SSG's jungler Ambition.
Control and force any skill. Take that Ambition! Ambition steals the Elder Dragon! He gets away with the lives! This is a 4-Drake Elder Dragon! He lives! Ambition saves the game once again!
So, I wouldn't say there are wrong lanes to main for a beginner, but there are points about every lane that you should keep in mind before deciding on which lane to main. The top lane. I would say this is the most beginner-friendly lane. There are many top lane champions that are very easy to play and farm with. Furthermore, top lane champions tend to be tanky and thus are hard to punish if you make a mistake. Also, there aren't many Smurfs in the top lane. The jungle. Maining jungle may be difficult for some beginners, but here is an important recommendation. Play jungle as soon as possible even if you don't intend to main it. The reason is playing jungle will teach you the League map, which you have to know like the back of your hand. And it's the only role, or at least the best role, to learn the League map. Furthermore, ganking, which is an important role of the jungler, will teach you great map awareness. So what could make playing jungle hard is to know when and how to gank and to balance ganking and farming. What makes playing jungle easy is that you don't have to worry about last hitting, so farming is much easier. Also, there are many easy to play jungle champions which are hard to punish as well, as they tend to be tanky like the top lane champions. If you decide to play or main jungle, one thing to keep in mind is that you'll be flamed a lot. And I mean a lot. So make sure you are thick-skinned or mute everyone as soon as the game starts. The mid lane. I think the mid lane is probably the most popular lane, and that is because it's the most influential lane due to location as well as champion pool. But I wouldn't say it's a beginner friendly lane. The first reason is that there are very few mid lane champions that are easy to play. Also, most of the mid lane champions are squishy and easy to punish. The second reason is that it's the most smurfed lane. This is the lane where most smurfs go to. The bot lane, also known as ADC, another non-beginner friendly lane in my opinion. The reason here is, like the mid lane, the champions are hard to play and are squishy and easy to punish. The other reason is that mechanics like kiting or positioning become important, which can be demanding for a beginner. But there aren't many smurfs in this lane and you play with another player, the support. And if it is a good support, then things will be easier. The support. This is the least popular role to main, mostly because you don't get to do as much killing and you don't farm. Instead, you'll be defending your ADC and ward. But still, there are many exciting support champions and it is still an enjoyable role to play. What makes playing support easy is that there are many easy to play support champions that are tanky and hard to punish. Furthermore, as I said before, you don't have to farm. What might make it hard is that you are playing with another player, the ADC. And the difficulty of the lane will depend on how good that player is as well. Tip number 4. Don't main hard champions. First of all, how do you know which champions are hard to play? Go to collections, champions, and select the champion you want to check, and go to the overview tab if you aren't on it already. One bar indicates an easy champion, and that is what you should aim to play as a beginner. But keep in mind that the difficulty ratings are more of a spectrum and that not all champions with a single bar are equally easy to play. There may be many reasons why people choose to main specific champions. Examples include tier list, popularity, flashy champions like Zed or Yasuo are popular, or gaming background. But as a beginner, the primary deciding factor on choosing which champion to main should be the difficulty level. So, why should you avoid maining hard champions as a beginner? I will give you a few reasons. One reason is that these champions require a lot of attention to play properly. But as a beginner, there are a lot of other things that you should pay attention to as well. One is to last hit and farm properly. Another is map awareness. The third is the enemy laner who may kill you. And you won't be able to pay attention to these things if all your attention is on how to play your champion. The second reason is that you don't know enough of League yet, and that attempting to learn these champions now may be a lot more frustrating and tedious than say if you attempt to learn them much later. So for example, there are certain common traits among some champions that you will learn through experience, or certain game mechanics that you will understand through time. If you have this knowledge, learning the hard champions becomes much easier, but as a beginner, you don't have this knowledge. The third reason is that trying to be good at these champions may make you hate League. So if you're attempting to learn a hard champion, then that champion will be all you play because you need to put in the practice, which is boring. Furthermore, you won't be seeing instant improvement. You'll always be dying and you'll always be flamed, and thus you may end up hating the game. Let me give you an example from personal experience. Like I told you, I main jungle, and a few months after I started League, I discovered that there was a tier list. So on that tier list for jungle, the OP jungler was Echo. So I thought I had to learn how to play him. But Echo is a hard champion to learn. So for example, the jungle camps would kill me, or it would take me a long time to clear them because I didn't know how to proc his passive properly. Or after learning that, all my attention would be on kiting the jungle camps to avoid damage, and that I would have zero map awareness and I would be flamed constantly for not helping my laners. It was a very tiresome and annoying process which wasn't even worth it. So take my advice, avoid the hard champions. Don't be enticed by a tier list, even a low elo one. I don't think a tier list applies well to beginners. So to help you out, I've compiled a list of champions that are easy to play for each lane and are in meta. Tip number 5. Pay attention to procs and visual cues. Like I said before, proc means activate. Proc is an important mechanics in League, and knowing when something is about to proc is crucial. So if something procs, something else happens. This could be extra damage, extra movement speed, a shield activating, and the like. But here's what you may not have known. Usually, there will be visual cues that will tell you when something is about to proc. There are many examples of this. I will give you one so that you get a general idea. Let's take Echo. So Echo's passive description says that the third hit deals extra damage and Echo gains movement speed if the target is a champion. So here, I'm attacking the Raptors camp and I'm hitting the Raptors so that my passive procs on as many Raptors as possible. Pay attention to the circles that form around the Raptors. That is the visual cue I talked about. One circle means one hit, two circles means two hits, and whenever I attack a Raptor with two circles on it, my passive procs and I do extra damage because it's the third hit. Having this knowledge enables me to clear the Raptors camp quickly and by taking minimal damage. How about proccing Echo's passive on a champion? Again, pay attention to the circles that form around Galio. When I land my third hit and thus proccing my passive, I do extra damage and also gain increased movement speed. That enables me to get away from Galio before he can retaliate. So pay attention to these visual cues and procs. So for example, if you're playing against Echo and you see two circles around you, then the right move is to stay away from Echo until the circles go away. These mechanics apply to the majority of League champions and understanding them is vital to understanding League. Tip number 6. Make it fun. League is a game that is supposed to be a lot of fun, but there are certain things that you could do that may ruin this fun. So avoid doing the following. The first one, I've said it before, avoid trying to learn hard champions. I've mentioned the reason before. In relation to this, playing only one champion all the time also takes away from the fun. I don't think being a one trick or playing only one champion all the time is good. It's boring, and also as a beginner, it sets you back from learning League. Another is to avoid drills. So drills could be like going into the practice tool to learn how to CS, or learn your champion skills on a practice dummy. From my own experience, these are not worth the tedium and boredom because they do not translate well into a match-made game. So let's say you open the practice tool to learn how to CS and get around 80 CS per 10 minutes. But the practice tool doesn't have factors from a match-made game like the threat of a gank or an opponent that isn't an AI. Furthermore, CSing well on one champion doesn't mean CSing well on other champions, which may mean going to the practice tool every time you want to play a different champion. So at least for now, avoid drills. Another one is more mindset related. So League is a great game, but it's not perfect. What I am specifically talking about is the matchmaking algorithm, and to be honest, it can never be perfect. So you play in a lot of unfair matches, you play against a lot of smurfs, you play against pre-made teams, and trust me, playing against pre-made teams is unfair unless you yourself are pre-made. So keep these things in mind, know that they're in the game, and be aware that you're losing some of your matches because of that and not because you're bad at the game. Another mindset related issue that could ruin your fun is toxicity, especially if you're new to esports or online gaming in general. It's a real big issue and something not to be taken lightly. And as a beginner, you'll be flamed a lot. This is actually one of the reasons I made this video, as I mentioned at the beginning. The best solution is to mute the person the moment he or she starts flaming you. No matter what, do not respond. That is the worst thing you could do. Also, realize that you're not the only person being flamed. Everyone gets flamed. And no matter what, do not flame anyone. Tip number 7. Play ARAM. Guys, this is by far the most important tip. The best way to learn League and be good at it is to play ARAM regularly. So do not be afraid of ARAM and do not underestimate it. Play it as much as possible. I would say as much as Summoner's Rift, especially as a beginner. From my personal experience, I didn't play ARAM for the first couple of months after I started League. I thought it wouldn't be as good as Summoner's Rift, and that was a big mistake because it's after I started playing ARAM that I noticed a huge improvement in my skills. Besides, it may not be as good as Summoner's Rift, but it's still really awesome to play. So, why is playing ARAM the best way to learn League? One reason is that you'll be forced to play a variety of champions. So to be good at League, you have to know how every champion works. There is no way around this, and the best way to know how a champion works is to play it yourself. And ARAM enables you to do that, and you don't even have to unlock the champion. The second reason is that you learn items and ruins much faster. So if you're playing a variety of champions, then that means that you'll be taking a variety of ruins and building a variety of items. Therefore, before you know it, you will have a good understanding of all the ruins and items in the game, which is also crucial to be good at League. The third reason is that the stakes are low in ARAM as compared to Summoner's Rift. Players don't invest as much in ARAM. It takes much lesser time, lesser energy, and lesser strategizing. Therefore, you won't be flamed as much if you play poorly or if you are a beginner. That makes it a much more friendly learning environment. The fourth reason is that you learn while having fun. So whether be it learning a variety of champions, items, or ruins, the ARAM way is much more fun than other learning ways. So for example, it's much more fun as compared to doing drills or going on long reading sessions to learn items or ruins. Pro tip on how to get the most out of ARAM. Use a website like op.gg. So during Champion Select, go to such websites to know what runes to take and items to build. And while you're loading to start the game, you can read about your champion's skills, skill order, items, and runes. Do this whenever you play ARAM. Guys, these were the 7 tips on how to climb into low elo and be good at League of Legends. Don't forget to like the video. Also, subscribe to my channel. I'll be making a lot of beginner videos for League. If you're a beginner in League, comment what topic you'd like to see a video on. Until next time, ciao.